On this lesson, we're going to begin sketching our character. So once you have opened Photoshop, you can create a document. The size really doesn't matter. We're going to be simply sketching, so you can make this big or small. It really doesn't matter because we're going to be using the sketching to paint. So the size really doesn't matter. You should be able to load the brush that I already showed you on the previous lesson, but if you are unable to do that, just use any brush you feel comfortable with. We're going to be creating a cat, and we're going to be creating the cat out of basic shapes. We're going to create two types of cats. The first one is going to be heavily based on the shape, and the other one is going to have some dimensions or proportions of a human. So once you have opened your document, we're going to go to your brush or press B on your keyboard, and all you have to do is, I'm going to be using a tablet, a Wacom tablet actually. So you're going to see that my process, having a tablet, it makes your process so much easy. And you can make the brush smaller or big using your brackets. You can use the open bracket or the close bracket to make it big or small, or you could also select the size on the top right there on your brush. But I would recommend that you have those ones. Then you're going to go to your layers, and if you don't see the window of the layers, you're simply going to go to Window and then find Layers or press F7, and you're going to be able to see that window. Now you're going to click on this little icon to create a new layer, and the reason why I do that is because I want to be able to erase without erasing the background. So once you have that set up, I like to zoom in a little bit, and you can zoom in and zoom out just as you do on Illustrator or Photoshop with Ctrl+ or Ctrl-. And we're going to begin sketching, and I'm going to make a circle. This is the first basic shape we're going to be using. Then I'm going to sketch a square. This is the second shape we're going to be using. And then I'm going to do a triangle. And they don't have to be perfect. And your drawing skills doesn't have to be amazing. You can go to your lasso tool or press L on your keyboard, make a selection, and move them around with your move tool or press B on your keyboard. You can press Shift to move them on the same direction and move your shapes around just to center them, and so you can see them at first glance right there. As I said, you don't need amazing skills. All you have to do is begin trying and doing. So first, when we are going to sketch on the circle, you have to think, what makes a cat a cat? And if you take a little time and observe a cat, you're gonna see that, well, a cat has eyes, then a cat has ears, and then a cat has 4 legs and a tail. So we're gonna be doing that. I'm gonna first have some eyes. As I said, a cat has eyes, so of course we need eyes. Then we need a nose, and cats have this kind of triangular nose, so you can do that. Then you can have a little line there on the bottom, because if you see cats have like kind of the mouth like that, and then you're gonna add some whiskers, and then let's make a leg. Just simple drawing strokes right there to make legs. So right now we have 2 legs. We're gonna be needing 2 more, and remember that you can refine your sketch as much as you want. I'm gonna make a shape kind of like this to create a leg, and then another one like this. And then, as I said before, a cat needs ears, and cats' ears are kind of pointy, unlike other animals, so you should represent them like that. And then just add a simple tail. And you can see how, based on a circle, we have already created a cat. You could select it and then press Ctrl-T to transform and go to one of the corners and rotate it a little bit, because I think my cat was kind of rotated to a side that I didn't want. And you could add some hair to the cat. You want to add a little bit more detail, so maybe this cat is a hairy cat. Now we're gonna go to the square, and it's just basically repeating what we just did on the circle. But you're gonna see that we're gonna get different results. That's why I'm encouraging you to use basic shapes, or maybe not even basic shapes. Try to do some other type of shape. Make a doodle and then try to make an animal or a person out of that. This cat, as you can see, has closer, the eyes are closer, the nose and the mouth are smaller. And this cat, I don't know if you have seen the head of the cats. They have like this cool pattern. So you can add that. Then again, the pointy ears. This is we did on the previous one. And we're gonna do the same. We're gonna actually add the same legs. But this time, instead of making the leg as we did before, we're simply gonna add the feet right there. So the legs are kind of part of that square that we just did. And you could erase, go into your eraser tool or press E. I'm erasing this part of the square to make it part of the original square. Then I'm creating a tail, and there you go. Right now I have a cat that is heavily based on a square. Now I'm gonna go to the triangle, and again, this is exactly the same technique. You could have the triangle as it is, or round it as I have been doing it here. And the reason why I round it is because I think it may work better for the cat. So again, I begin with the eyes, and then have a nose, and keep working just as before. Maybe this one has a wider mouth and bigger whiskers. And I'm doing this with a cat as an example, but as I said, if you go and see an animal, maybe you want to do an elephant, then try to think what makes an elephant an elephant. So maybe you can go and see that the shape of the ears of the elephants are on a certain way. Then you have the eyes as well, then trunk. So try to do that with different animals. I would really encourage you that you go and use this technique with them. And for this cat, I added a little hair on the top and made the tail. And as you can see, right now we have 3 different types of cats based heavily on basic shapes. So on the next lesson, we're going to keep sketching and create other types of cats.